Well, I can say this: after Tuesday, we have seen the Republican wave all over this country, and we have seen over and over again victory after victory. There's still a lot of work to do, and we shouldn't become complacent. If you don't know who I am, my name is Merle Rutledge. I am that 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia, the firebrand that everybody's talking about. Now, let's get this straight. Now, I got on here earlier talking about sexual assaults and domestic violence, but maybe I'm just also turning my gears a little bit because I just watched Schumer all over TV. And of course, we see Pelosi and the rest of the DNC that slams President Trump, slams fellow Republicans, and always trying to criticize on any single thing. If there's a drug that helps people, oh my God, he's telling people to kill themselves. Oh my God, this is the craziness type of stuff you hear each time frame a liberal opens their mouth. Oh, he fired the IG. Oh, but forgot that Obama fired his IG. Joe Biden even forgot that. And nobody's shocked about that one. But the whole point is, I'm looking at also this stupid race baiting that keeps going on, talking about black people are the ones who are dying from coronavirus. They're disproportionately affected. They are the ones who had the significant problems. All this rhetoric, every single time frame, the Democratic Party needs a racial scapegoat. They always say, well, black people being affected. They single us into a group like some sick monsters out there from the Democratic Party every single time that they need to get pork barrels project. If you start noticing this, black people, we are always discussed in a negative fashion, disproportionate, whenever the Democrats don't get what they want. We're being used. Been trying to tell people this. This is their magical playbook every single time. So they could go ahead and get people all worried, all frightened, and all this other crap, trying to pretend that they care about, when in all actuality, we know that's false. But the fact is, some people need some education, some awareness about these demons called the Democrats. Why would you think a party cares about you that is trying to kill your babies first? Two, the only time frame they talk about you right now is the further spending on pork barrel projects that don't have nothing to do with the community. And three, I'm just telling it like it is, people. Black people are always brought up into politics by the Democratic Party to make sure they get exactly what they want by trying to think America is supposed to be sympathetic. Supposed to be looking at us like some charity cases and more, and not realizing that black people have their own independent mind. Black people can make their own decision, but off the break, stop using black people to further your political crap agenda. Now, with Schumer and Pelosi, oh my God, these pieces of crap just gets on my damn nerves every time frame I see them on TV. When the president or when a boss of any company decides to fire somebody, that's exactly what they wanted done. It's called the right to work. It has a right to do what you're told to do. If you don't do it, then your ass is out of there. That's just the way it is in America. Nobody makes the IG special. Nobody. And if it was me, probably because President Trump been draining the swamp for so damn long, he just worked his way to the IG. He probably would have been out of there at the beginning of the term, but when you drain in the swamp, it takes years because you gotta study the swamp. You have to single out the people in the swamp. Then you gotta see who's helping them. It's a long process in the swamp. That's why I said I'm the man to get the job done here in Virginia. Because I said directly, once I get a term, once I get elected governor, I want the Republicans to tell me who the swamp is so I can go ahead and kick their asses out from day one. I'm going to make sure that's on the agenda for the American people, the Virginia citizens. I want you to tell me who's the swamp up there in Richmond, who's the swamp anywhere. So I can make sure those SOBs don't continue to do the job that's been destroying Virginia and America all over this country. See, that's tough leadership. That's the things that politicians don't say because they worried about offending their special interest groups or their lobbyists or whoever's putting money in their pocket. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not asking for you to put money in my pocket. I'm not asking you to make it easy or do it the nice way. I'm going to be unapologetic getting rid of the swamp. I can say that part. And when you see fire, they're going to say Rutledge is firing everybody up there in Richmond. I'm going to just be saying I'm cleaning out the house of career politicians and those who have no business being here. The laziness and the slumlords that have been running Virginia's state government is gone. That's just the way it is. Now, back to the point. Schumer and Pelosi running around talking about hydrochloroquine and all these stupid health professionals. Why is I'm seeing every single health professional prescribing this stuff to everybody who got coronavirus? And y'all thought about this, people? Now, mind you, all these stupid governors was banning the drug because they needed death. That's what they needed. In order to sell your pork barrel projects, people have to die. Then Democrats are sending coronavirus nurses and patients to nursing homes where it's the most vulnerable. Well, guess what? They're older. They have the least capacity to fight diseases just like anybody else who's out here living healthy. And let me guess, they killed all those people. So I guess they're supposed to care about black people too. Okay. Now let me continue this onslaught. President Trump brought up this drug a long time ago. And all the instruction and the stuff done by Democrats all over this country killed American citizens on behalf of illegals. Because look at the picture here. Look at the picture here. America's dying. Democrats is looking for money for illegals. You got to take and pay attention to that. America is dying and going broke. And they're saying their budgets is overwhelmed. New York, California, Michigan, all these stupid liberal governors all over the country. Let me add Oregon because that's a special case. And Wisconsin, he just gave up the fight. That was probably the smartest governor I have seen who finally realized I'm wrong. And it took that long. America going broke and, oh, today I realize I'm wrong, but look at all the people who are suffering right now who don't know what to do when their economy. The son of a bitch ass still got to deserve the comment for us to talk nice no more. Forget that. We've been talking nice too long. And like I told Republicans, we are winning and they're down. I know some people say don't kick people while they down. No, we kick them while they down. We don't let them get back up. We send them back home for retirement. That's where they belong. So as far as I'm concerned, these are the stupid things that these liberals continue to do to play on the black community. Then we had the and make sure you play this for anybody who's trying to bring up racial division. Atlanta mayor finally admits, oh, since the state been reopened, it ain't as bad as I thought. Guess what? There's a drug that's out there that's helping people that you tried to get banned, and you start realizing, oh, your weeks of death and your spike levels and all that stuff for a 98% recoverable disease. 98%. Now you want to say, oh, I can't admit President Trump is right, but I have to admit I didn't recognize that this was going to be the results when a state opens back up. Look at this whole scenario, people. And this is the Atlanta mayor who was up there talking about blaming Trump for all these deaths, blaming Trump for the jogging death, blaming Trump. It's all about being vice president for these liberal governors at American expense. Each one of these idiots who are slamming President Trump, trying to be on Joe Biden's team, look at how they led their city. Look at how they led their state. Look at Governor Whitmer. She's talking about, oh, the vice president, Biden, he gave me a conversation talking about being the vice president. And you got millions of Michigan, millions coming to the Capitol, 2A, 1A, all together combined, telling you to open back up Michigan. And you're trying to tell me That you are the person who Joe Biden's going to pick to shut down America over a 98% recoverable virus, recoverable disease. From those who get it, not from those who haven't, those who get it. So I say to myself, what's going on here? This is kind of more craziness being added up to this situation, because I damn sure ain't going to ever run Virginia like this. Virginia wouldn't even be shut down right now. You'll be at the beach doing what you've normally been doing, traveling, enjoying the sights, and doing what most Americans do. That means basically mind their business and do whatever they want to do, as long as they ain't getting no trouble. We shouldn't be getting arrested just because we sat down at the beach and got some sun. Now, this is the other thing that they do. Now, they said the sun, UV light, helps kill the disease. But guess what? They shut down the beach. These liberals shut down the beach. So you can't get UV light. You can't get treatment. All it's about is your death, America. That's why I said I'm the death of the DNC. I'm the death of the Democrat Party, because, like I said, I'm going to be hidden. I guarantee you, Republicans, I'm going to be hidden below the belt every single step of the way. Every time frame you hear about Rutledge, they're going to be talking about he just unloaded on Democrats. He done turned Democrats to Republicans. It ain't hard to do. The fact is, they gave out all their playbook this year because they destroyed the economy, destroyed people's lives. And what am I supposed to do? Lie to the American people like the Democrat Party been lying throughout this whole little pork barrel spending project? And the first thing they do, every single time they get caught up in their lies, they go to another story. Let's do President Trump. Let's just say the impeachment inquiry is still going on. Let's go ahead. And now they're talking about extending lockdowns, not because of spikes in coronavirus cases. Look and pay attention to this. They are no longer talking about we're extending based off the coronavirus. They're extending as punishment for those speaking out against them, those who are protesting. The first 1A, those who are sick and tired of sitting at home and seeing their livelihoods go away. They are targeting barbers and hair salons. Get that, people. And they're punishing them because, like Whitman said, if y'all gonna go against me, I'm going to extend the lockdown. What does that have to do? What does that have to do? Because you ain't paying all them Americans' bills. You ain't sending out a check like you send to illegals to help Americans pay their rent or pay for a business loan, or that has been destroyed by your agenda and your orders, executive orders, which is now being ruled unconstitutional all over the place. Because guess what? Just like, unless it's a liberal, watch out for them liberal judges and pay attention to their decisions, especially if you vote in the area where you elect judges. Those who are allowing these lockdowns of these governors' orders to continue, compared to the ones who are saying, y'all don't have a case in the book here to keep the state closed. The evidence isn't there. It's not being supported by experts. And don't use Fauci as an expert. He's been wrong throughout all of this. He may have been, I had to hear this stupid stuff earlier. Dr. Fauci is a world-renowned virus expert. Yes, he was a world-renowned one probably in 1970. This is 2020, people. You know, what he learned back then doesn't apply to right now. Now you got to deal with the experts of today, not those who are just world-renowned and getting wrong every single time period. Let's be honest, people. If you go anywhere, he just talk about hydrochloroquine shouldn't be taking all the. I'm starting to figure his little ass out. You know, he's been a Democrat for quite some time, and he's still trying to hold the line and all this other stuff. And I know President Trump wants to get rid of him, to be honest about it. But the Democrats need to listen and have some kind of person that they can, you know, relate to on the screen, so they can realize how dumb it is that their own party's acting throughout this time period. But let's be honest. If a man is wrong over and over, remember Easter week is going to be the week of 200,000 plus deaths. Remember that, Cole? Did that happen? Are we at 200,000 deaths now? And Easter was a long time ago, people. And they said for that week, not for a month. It's been a month past then. We ain't at 200,000 deaths. We ain't even at 100,000 deaths, people. So when you are hearing this stuff, you have to start saying to yourself, common sense dictates 98% survival rate. Trump touted the drug months ago that is helping people. Even a Michigan Democrat said it saved her life. And doctors are prescribing this over and over again for patients. And you're trying to tell me you're still trying to dog out the very drug only because President Trump, if President Trump said vitamin C help, they would say, oh, no, vitamin C don't help. There's nothing proven. Then why is the medical professionals out there in the field using this drug and trying it with zinc? So, and people are recovering. So, y'all are not medical experts, the basic ones who are running around trying to act like they're doctors, and the doctors are saying this is working conclusively. So that means President Trump was saving lives while you were doing everything from the Democratic Party to destroy them. And I said, you send coronavirus victims, like I said, to nursing homes to spread it all the way around to see how many of them die. They ain't your loved ones. And those who had people in those nursing homes, as far as politicians, and articles out there with moving their loved ones out of those nursing homes before the corona showed up in them. That lets you know they care about themselves as politicians. But you, the American people, are expendable. That's what it boils down to. I know people hate to hear it, but yes, the Democratic Party makes every racial population or denomination, whatever you want to call it, expendable. Because the one thing all these races have in common, they are American citizens. That's what it boils down to. This is an attack on America. All because they're not getting what they want. So now I'm going to get into the Q&A session because I always love answering constituents' questions all the time. And it's my chance to be real with you. You know, some people get out there and just say, hey, I'm only going to answer the questions that make me comfortable. I'm running 100% real all the time. My Republican gas tank is full all the time. If I have a liberal reporter, I set them straight all the time. It doesn't matter what question that they ask. It doesn't matter what kind of gotcha moment that people come up with. I'm going to take them on one by one. And that's just the way it is. I've earned it all. So to all the public out here, I see a bunch of people, Richard Waller, Warren Lettieri. I hope I pronounced it wrong. Don't pay attention. I had dental surgery, and that's true. I did have dental surgery, which affects my speech. Hey, Juanita Frizzle. Always love seeing you out of the South Side. Tanya Luck, it's always good to see you. Alexis Lassiter. She used to be a classmate with me at Norfolk State University. So I always have love for Norfolk State University, even though there's a lot of liberals out there. Hey, it is what it is. But like I said, when I take the time to go to Norfolk State University, once again, I'm going to definitely rip it up and make sure that all those who are at that university know what the DNC is all about, how they get played. So at this time frame, it's your chance to ask me whatever questions you want to ask me. I'm going to have about 30 minutes to do this, so I want people to know what kind of candidate that they're getting, because people don't vet the candidates like this, and nor do they have real conversations like this. They always have prepared questions, teleprompter, a statement, and all this other crap. And I don't operate that way. I'm like, if I have a conversation with you right here, this is like you sitting across from me at a dinner table, and we're just having conversation. So Hey, Cody Simon, and hello, Olga Morrow. I always love seeing you up there, and Kim Valos. It's always great to see you. So, if you have questions out there in regards, it could be about two-way, it could be about free market capitalism, it could be about anything. This is your time to find out questions that you need to know. It could be about the criminal justice system. That's fine by me. Um, but this just to say the least to a lot of people out there and stuff like that, um, when it comes down to the election results, I'm going to give people time to get their questions in. So I'm just going to be jawing off like I normally do. And that's because I just feel like right now, America's just being played left and right. You know, we're being taught to fear even our fellow neighbor. The 6 feet of distance, mask, all these gloves, all this other stuff. I'm like, the damage is there, and it's not going to take a polite person to get people back to normal. Okay, now we got a question here. Are you willing to put an end to the corruption in Pennsylvania County judicial system? All right, for those who don't know about Pennsylvania County, in the Danville area, it's really South Side, Halifax County, Martinsville. That's the area I grew up in. And the criminal justice system there. They are the number one reason, I can tell you that part, for why I'm so committed to making sure the criminal justice system is changed up. A couple of things I want done. Number one is open file discovery, meaning the prosecutor and the defense attorney will both have access to the same information so we can have fair trials. Two, I want different accountability for judges that has not been applied on a more timely fashion. And if it has been any application of it, it seems like it has been completely partisan, meaning if the judge is somebody that they don't like from the DNC, then they will use disciplinary measures to get that person out. I don't like that. I'm like, we all should be held accountable. Nobody's above the law, and especially for the judges to be the ones to say that. They need to be held accountable and held to a higher standard. As far as the criminal justice system there, yes, it is a personal interest criminal justice system. I have seen people railroad it in the newspapers where the story has been manipulated in a way to taint the public. And then when evidence is presented at a trial, people already have their mind made up on a conviction or even the judge because it seems like a way to clean up their mess. I can say unequivocally, I will ask for reviews of certain cases for people to bring up in which they feel that they was railroaded for pardons. There will be a different type of Republican handling business. I'm not going to be releasing murderers and rapists over the coronavirus, if you get what I mean. But I will be looking at the fact, was the case fair? Not by the standards of the Virginia Supreme Court, not by this such and such, just by the fact that a lot of different mechanisms we can use to actually overturn convictions a lot sooner, especially for those who are wrongfully convicted, have been basically dinosaur in practice. And we need to make sure that we are not holding innocent people in jail and getting to the bottom of it. I've seen police pad up the deck on people. I've seen prosecutors not give out exculpatory evidence even after the fact, which they are supposed to do. I have basically seen that basically there is no incentive or any kind of accountability for them to basically change up the way that they do business, which is the furtherance of justice, not the furtherance of my personal interest for convictions. They have targeted too many people in that particular area, and there is a lot of injustices, not only here, but all across Virginia. So, yes, I do plan to get a board in commission, not one that doesn't have teeth. there's a difference. Board and commissions and stuff like that may only have the power to recommend. It still goes to the governor to decide on whether those recommendations will even be enforced. No, I plan on having a board and commission that has teeth to make sure that people are getting a fair trial, that the justice system is continuously working, but we are holding judges and prosecutors accountable for Brady violations and much more. It's going to be very expensive because when I use this pardon power, unlike what the governor's doing, just releasing any rapist or murderer out there, when I use this pardon power, it's used to basically correct the wrong that the courts won't do. And as far as I'm concerned about it, yes, it should be the last method. But at the same time frame, I have no problem. And I'm not going to worry about the public outcry or whatever. If there's a person who I feel from all the evidence, from the background of that case and more, and that commission recommends to me that this person should go free or this person shouldn't, I would like to know all the facts. So yes, at the same time frame, I won't hesitate to fix an injustice in our justice system. So that's going to be a long road to have done. Okay, so what's the next question? I hope I answered that question for you. Juanita Frizzle, I'm very familiar with your case. Well, not your case personally, but what surrounds it. Okay, let me see. I'm going up, like I said, hey, Michael Steele, hey, Brian Hillsman, hey, BJ Williams, Mary Carnes. It's always great to see you. Tammy Simpkins, much love to you. Okay, Matt Witt, thank you for sharing all my posts, all my videos, and everything like that. That's how we get the word of mouth in. I'm not spending my time going to fundraisers and all that other stuff. I'm here to be there for the people. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not here to line my pockets. I'm here to get a job done, and I'm going to do it one way or the other. So that's just what that boils down to. Hey, George A. Jones Jr., it's always great to see you. You've always been a great supporter of mine. Mary Poindexter, nice to meet you. Great to have you on here on this Facebook Live. John Yurt, I'm not that familiar with you, but I'm glad you're here to go ahead and check me out. Norma Hairston, always great to see you on and definitely checking me out. So it's so many people on this actual live feed, so that's why I tell people to, when I'm up here, don't get scared to, ask a question. And don't feel any question is dumb. I've seen some questions where people just chill back and they hesitate because they're worried about how it's going to be viewed or being attacked or whatever it may be. No, sometimes it's good to just know that a politician treats you just like they should treat anybody else that they decide to have around them in Richmond or wherever, where they explain thoroughly why they are making decisions and what their plans are. Like in November, we had Democrats just telling people every kind of thing on their wish list. And what we saw was a gun control grab, abortion policies out of control, and nothing about what they campaigned on. And I think for most Americans that's waking up, they're tired of just voting for people who just tell them anything that they want to hear, but have no plans of accomplishing that in Richmond. And it's the lies that get the people. It doesn't matter whether it's just Democrats or whatever. If you come in, it's a lot of people in the swamp, I can tell you that one. And they think that they get a chance to win or represent us because of their name, or because of their committee likes them or whatever it may be. And I told people, I'm probably one of the few candidates who has laid out a lot of committees, especially the leadership in them. And I don't back down for nobody. That just doesn't happen. And I earn my respect, everywhere I go. That's why when you see people who used to criticize me or give me a hard time and they're supporting me, it's not because they was just haters or whatever. You got to warm up to people. You got to get used to them. You got to sit down with people and have a chance to get to know them. Because during that time frame, before then, all the online stuff and stuff like that, it's just back and forth, people just making their own opinions without knowing. And when you have a chance to sit down, have a coffee or a beer and sit down and actually go over your issues and viewpoints, you have a different respect for them. Doesn't mean you're going to like the person after the meeting or whatever, but it gives a chance for people to be face to face, look eye to eye, and see, are you actually there to tell the truth, and are you there to really be serious about the policies that you have? And you got to be able to explain it, because that same critic is another voter. And that same critic is probably going to be your strongest supporter as you run your race, because if they was criticizing that much, imagine how many different people that they are talking to after the fact and saying, hey, I met Mr. Rutledge. He's unapologetic. I can say that one. But he ain't going to quit on us. And he means exactly what he says. And that's what I want people to say. I take much pride into that. So, anyway, let's get some questions going. And thank you, Juanita. Of course, I always love to have people's votes and stuff like that. Now, another question that has came up about any animosity towards particular candidates and stuff like that. I'm like this about it. When it comes down to the liberal media, always be skeptical. I'm smoking my cigarette because I like to chill and relax. I ain't worried about the coronavirus. But also at the same time, it's my chance to drink my tea, drink my coffee, and just enjoy just talking to the American people. That's just how I am. I'm very, very much down to earth. But I think, to me personally, we have lost because we have had weak candidates. That's just what it boils down to. And it's like people that doesn't talk to the voter or represent the patriot, they talk above them. And most of the time frame, they come in looking like nerds and dorks. And people just see a replica of what they voted for before, because they are playing by the last candidate's playbook or what the committee considers their interpretation of you. And it's hard for people to relate to somebody just taking the place of somebody else who wasn't doing nothing. But this is the best option. There's no challenger. And with me, I can say that when it comes down to committees and when it comes down to state leadership and the rest of them, they all know who I am. There ain't a problem with that one. They just don't like the fact that they can't control me. That's probably their biggest problem. And they know I'm going to say it like it is. I ain't going to hold back where they used to hold back for Democrats. And that's what it was. It was like, you got to be respectful to them. You got to talk like this. You got to hold their head and all this other stuff and pretend to like them. I'm not pretending to like a Democrat. I'm not pretending to like liberals. If I don't like you, I just don't like you. There's no such thing as me just, hey, one day I'm talking crap about you and then I see you face to face and I'm doing a photo op. You can ask Mayor Alonzo Jones out of the city of Danville. I'm like, shoot, I came all the way to Danville for a 2-8 rally. This is the truth. He comes over and tries to shake my hand. Oh, so now you know. I looked at him. I said, get your hand out my face. I'm not here to shake hands with you. You probably got a camera somewhere trying to say you piece things up with me. And that wasn't going to happen. I hate spineless cowards. I can say that part. And those who is corrupt and just basically just doing or trying to use you for propaganda or whatever. That's why I'm very careful who I take pictures with. I can say that part. Maybe if my opponent was a little bit more careful about his bumping Justin Fairfax, maybe she would have thought about that one. Especially if you plan on running for governor. And right now, this state is sick of Democrats. And that's what it boils down to. Even Democrats don't even know why they vote Democrat right now. But I'm going to remind them every single chance I get to say how you're being used. And then all this guy being taken out of the country, this attacks on churches during the lockdown. But they're able to have gay clubs open. Oh, did I say something to offend somebody? I don't care if you're gay, LGBT, QRS, whatever. You go by the same orders that everybody else has to go to. go through. Doesn't make anybody else special. But I wasn't complying with none of the orders at all, to be real with you. I'm like, there's a difference between public safety of your household and then public safety out there wherever else you go to and stuff like that. If you could travel to Florida for a fundraiser, like the North Carolina governor, during stay-at-home orders and stuff like that, I don't see you complying. I don't see nothing special about you. So why would I comply? And then too, at the same time period, it became punishment. All it was is, if you defy us, we're going to punish you. Like you're a kid. I'm a grown-ass man, just like a grown-ass woman. And sometimes you got to say to yourself, I'm grown up and you treat me like a kid. Like you being my parent right now, telling me when I could go out and be back home by curfew. Even though you didn't do anything that had those restrictions and stuff like that. So, let's be real. It's a lot of childishness going on in politics. Not enough patriots, because patriots would have known better. Back in the day, we would have never shut down for this. I'm like, shoot, we used to walk to school in all types of conditions. You know what I'm saying? Forget the school bus. Some people walking miles and miles. And you're saying that they're tougher than what we got now? The reason the coronavirus had this much effect is because of old politicians. I'm going to say that part. Because they knew the virus was affecting their age group, like Joe Biden. And I really don't understand why he's in the race at all. But that's what they picked. And really is Obama running for president against President Trump. That's what it boils down to. Obama seeing his legacy go to garbage because President Trump is doing exactly what he refused to do. And that's what it boils down to. For the last 8 years, he had a chance to do exactly or whatever, even close to what President Trump has done. And what we are seeing in America, his policies didn't work. And we're seeing Trump's policies working. The economy's growing. People have more of a passion for new opportunity, not socialism. We're seeing the heart of America's, exceptionalism growing higher and higher, where people are no longer focusing on selling drugs or criminal activity like in the Obama time period. They are focused on being law-abiding citizens. They are becoming more aware of their backgrounds. The educational system, is flawed, but they are getting an education in politics. And the one thing I can say about President Trump on the race issue, because we hear it a lot, that's a fact. It's one thing that's not really talked about, and other politicians try to avoid it when Republicans is called racist all the time. And we're having the discussion in America that Obama refused to have on it. That's what it boils down to. And what people are saying now is people are tired of the division. That's what it is. People are respecting the right of other groups and associations to have their beliefs, but be respectful to the fact that that's your beliefs. We don't have to have a policy where we agree with everything. That's what the Democrats want us to do. They're just like, we made this policy and we want you to agree, even though it goes against your faith, morals, and values or your religious beliefs. It's being forced, where people should be allowed to say whatever is good in your house may be good in your house, but it's not welcome in my house. And that's, of course, should be respected more than anything else. Or we become a controlled robotic society where we can't think for ourselves and we can't make our own decision on what is good for us. Instead, we have the government choosing to do so. And each time frame the government starts getting more of an inch into your private lives, the more that we are becoming enslaved by it. And that's where I'm very focused on the fact of backing the government out of people's lives, And it takes leadership, and it takes the tough call to tell people, hey, you have a right to believe what you want, but don't force others to believe so. And that's what the biggest problem we are having. And as far as race relations and stuff like that, it has improved a whole lot more in America under President Trump, because now people are focused on the facts of issues, not whether it's black or white. And the only people who are focusing on making it a black and white issue is the liberal media. And the liberal media has done a slam dunk job on basically selling racial divides here in America. And they do it for exploiting profits, not for the issue at hand to make it better. For far too long. You know, when it seems like anytime it's a black and white thing, it now a race thing, automatically. And nobody's looking at the facts to say, hold on, this ain't about race. It could be about stupidity. It could be about ignorance. It could be about the fact things wasn't done a better way. But that doesn't have anything to do with race, people. It has everything to do with accountability and those taking responsibility, whether it's a justified shooting or if it is cold-blooded murder. But when you start putting the media into it, I've seen enough murderers get off scot-free because the media sold it so well a division instead of justice. So people was on juries or deciding the facts with a bias based on the fact of the racial divide or the outcome, not about justice. And when that happens, of course, it's going to be continuous further division. And after a while, people have to step up and be serious and say, take this out the equation. This is what happened. This is why this person is guilty or not guilty, and setting the points as it is. And people will respect that, especially if it comes from somebody who has always called the shots as impartial and neutral as it may come. So a lot of times, friends, there are issues where the media makes it black and white. I just don't jump onto it until I know more. And then, of course, you have that old school back in the day, and it's with all races, where some people that feel like a certain race is the devil or a certain race is criminals or monsters. I'm like, we all bleed the same way, and we all have a life that we choose the same way. We can choose to put ourselves in situations, and we can choose not to. And as far as I'm concerned about it, if it is any kind of racial intent, that's that person's crossed the bear. We do have laws that reflect that. But to say every single time frame a black and white incident occurs is a race-related incident, you know, jumping the gun like that has caused further division. And I'm not one who's going to further it. I look at everybody as brothers and sisters, my neighbor and friends or whatever it may be. But I don't look at it as this white female or this black man or whatever it may be. I look at it as what's your content of your character. Just because you're a different shade of skin tone, what are you about? Because that's just like a black mother who lost their son, or a white mother who lost their son by their neighbor who's white, or their neighbor or somebody who's black. You're not focusing on race, you focus on justice for your son. Doesn't matter who, what color or whatever that person did you wrong. And looking at those type of situations, we got to start focusing more on cleaning up our neighborhoods and our communities and being more responsible for it. We have gave the responsibility over to the police and wonder why the police aren't being abusive, you know, or they are acting out of character, because they've taken on a responsibility that parents should be taking on. That's what it boils down to. And their neglect is the future criminal, you know, or the future murderer, the future rapist. And that's why I tell people it's so important to stop finger pointing at everybody else, blaming everybody else. A lot of times, friends, that's just the deflect and have smoke and mirrors for yourself. So my run for governor is going to do a lot about self-responsibility and accountability. Policies ain't going to fix that. It's going to take those who are leaders in the community and those parents to fix their own home. So once that starts getting fixed all over, our schools get better, society gets safer, people become more educated and aware of the consequences of their actions, and there's less of those who are trying to defend bad behavior or defend crime because it's a family member compared to those saying, you did the crime, you did the time just like anybody else, you deserve the punishment. And that's what we have now. Now we have a society that's trying to justify even R. Kelly now. Back in the day, you wouldn't even think R. Kelly would even have any kind of cover, but now you're seeing millions and millions of people supporting his behavior and attacking victims. So that kind of lets you know back in the day, it wasn't that. Even for adultery or whatever, people was always having the back of the victim, and now we're seeing the society that's backing the criminal, and we're seeing that at the top levels of government, statewide, where they releasing criminals, and putting them back in a place to victimize again. So, to everybody, I enjoyed this live. I felt like I just had to get some stuff off my chest. It's getting late. I'm getting ready to enjoy and finish my barbecue. And I want everybody to stay safe. So anytime you have a question that you want to bring up to me, whether it deals with race, whether it deals with abortion, 2A, doesn't matter what the issue may be, I want us to start having more informed conversations and becoming more aware of self and more aware of what the government is actually doing out there. And in order for us to do that, this is when we start being able to fix the problems and recognize what the swamp has came to. And I want to say once again, God bless America, God bless Virginia, and God bless everybody, no matter your background or your ethnicity or who you are. You're still one of God's children. But don't let a political party make you into the devil's helper. And you have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening.